Hey guys, this is Miss Roz. I'm going to explain a couple of things on how to do cleaning in the classroom. First off, things that need to happen when you're cleaning. Number one, wash your hands, right? When you go to wash your hands, make sure that you use hot water, soap, and you really wash them for about 20 seconds, okay? You could either sing happy birthday to yourself or do the alphabet twice to yourself if you need kind of like a timer, right? Make sure that you rinse off your hands, and then make sure that you use paper towels to dry your hands, right? You'll see the paper towel dispensers on the wall by your sinks, right? Paper towels should only be used to dry your hands. Please do not use them to wipe down counters. We have other equipment for that. All right, so let's talk about dishwashing real quick. You will notice that your sink has two containers there. So one is for washing, all right, and then the other one is for rinsing. You will notice one has kind of a much deeper opening than the other side, right? This side, right, you have to put your stopper into. So you're going to take that stopper, put it in, turn it, and then make sure it pushes and it stays down, okay? Right, you're going to fill up that section with some hot water, right? You have a thing of some soap. You need about 2 to 3 pumps of soap, right? You don't need any more. If you do 5 and 6, you're gonna end up with this big giant pile of bubbles, right? And then you guys try to like put those bubbles somewhere, typically the trash can, and you think that I'm not gonna notice that there's a giant pile of bubbles in the trash can, right? So, a couple of squirts of soap, and then make sure you turn on your water, right? You want hot water, right? You should not be washing dishes in cold water. Right? The hot water helps to cut the grease when you're washing, right? You're going to leave the other sink open for when you go to rinse, right? And then the other thing you want to do is you want to put down a towel, right? So here's a towel on the other side where I'm going to rinse, so that there is a spot for you to put your equipment when you're done, right? So your station should be wash, rinse, dry, okay? You are responsible for washing, rinsing, drying, and putting away of all equipment, right? So washing dishes, right? It seems silly that I had to explain this, but I want to make sure everybody understands how to do this. Right, so if you have a plate, you want to make sure that you wash the top of the plate as well as the back of the plate, okay? Make sure you scrub it, that there's no food on there. If you have food on your plate beforehand, scrape it off into the garbage can first. All right, now, if you have something like this and you have, you need to clean it, okay? Please be careful, because yes, these are sharp blades. All right, and then also though, make sure that you clean the handles. All right, so clean that handle as well, because you might have gotten some food on the handle. All right, so make sure that there's no food on there. All right, and then put it in to the side there so that you don't cut yourself. All right, make sure that you then also rinse it. All right, make sure you rinse both sides so that there's no soap on the front or the back. All right, and you can put it down on the towel so that the counter doesn't get wet. All right, however, you are responsible for drying, okay? So you'll need another towel. So you should have one towel to put stuff down on, all right, and then another towel to dry whatever it is that you are washing, right? So when you get into the kitchen, you should have 2 towels to help you with your dishwashing. All right, another thing you may also need to get while you're over in the laundry are 2 dishcloths, right? So you'll notice that the dishcloth is square, small and square. The dish towels are large and rectangular. Dish towels are used to dry dishes and counters. Dishcloths are used to wipe down your counter, all right? Now, when you go to wipe down a counter, right, many of us kind of forget that this should be nice and wet. Right, so when I say wet, I don't mean it should be dripping, but you do need to get it wet. Okay, notice how I got the whole thing wet, and then squeeze out the water so it's not dripping. But your towel should be wet. So when you go to wipe down, your counter, right, you would use some spray, cleaning spray, and then wipe it down, right? You will notice that the counter might be a little wet afterwards, right? And so when you're all done wiping down your counters, if they haven't dried up already, you can then use your dish towel to dry the counter, okay? All right, make sure that when you are cleaning, you also clean your stove, right? If you are using the stove, you want to make sure that there's no crumbs left on the stove. So I would take my dishcloth, wipe up any of these crumbs all over my stove. All right, if you need to, you can use a little spray to help cut the grease. All right, and then making sure that these crumbs, all right, end up in your hand and then into the garbage can. Please do not put those crumbs onto the floor. Okay, so those are kind of the basics of hand washing, dishwashing, and wiping down the counters, right? The reason when you are all finished with your dish station, so everything is all cleaned up, you are going to drain all of this, okay? And then you're going to wipe down and make sure that there's no food in my sink, and you're also going to dry it, right? There should be no water in my kitchens, whether on the counters or in the sink or anything, okay? Because water builds up mold, and I don't want any mold in my kitchens. All right, great. Thank you.